This is Bloomberg Businessweek with Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
Jess, Menton, and Tim Stenovec here in the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers Studio in New York. And Tim, I have to say I'm very excited about our next segment, especially because our guests are here in studio on this rainy day here. And I have to say our next guests have ventured and also are entrepreneurs in so many different areas when you're talking about what's happening in real estate, restaurants, as well as obviously when it comes to dating and coaching in that particular area. So I'm excited to have Cheri and Tracey Syphax, who are the founders of Just the Phax, here in studio with us. And I first want to start off because when you were here about 3 months ago, both of you had your Phax Entertainment Group company had announced that they were taking over ownership for Booker's Restaurant and Bar in West Philadelphia. So before we get into the other things with real estate and dating and all of that jazz, I wanted to hear how things are going as far as when it comes to the restaurant space.
The restaurant space, the business is going great. We are, sales are up 26% over the first quarter, and we are excited to be in this position. As you know, we kept the majority of the staff, maybe 75% of the staff we kept there. So we didn't change much, but we elevated the menu, added some special drinks, and it's been a real great ride.
It's an interesting dynamic because especially coming out of the pandemic, right, Tim, when you think about how challenging it's been for specific restaurants.
Exactly where my head was going to go,
right.
Jess. Yeah, like if you're going to buy a restaurant,
right.
2023, when you're coming out of a pandemic, Tracey, is not really the time to do it. Can't find labor.
Yes.
Costs are going through the roof. Food costs are going up, and then you have this whole pandemic thing that you got to worry about. Why take a risk like this?
Well, we looked at the model. The previous owner, Saba, had built a great model over 6 years, so she had built success. It was already pretty much there when we inherited the restaurant, and we just really felt with our profile and our social media presence that we can elevate it and market it in a whole different light. Booker's is located not too far from the colleges, the hospitals, so it's in a prime area for that type of growth. So we really felt that we could really enhance Booker's by just our presence.
I'm curious what y'all are seeing when it comes to, because Tim brought up labor, and obviously when you think about inflation issues, with what you're seeing, what do you think this tells us about the direction of the economy?
Well, a couple things. I think the economy is doing better than initially when we started talking about recession. Everyone was concerned and worried, and even we were, because we were in the middle of negotiations during that time. We felt good about our business evaluation and the ability to retain employees. The really great thing about being in West Philadelphia and Philadelphia period is everyone is very neighborhood centric. So a lot of our employees come right from the neighborhood. They can walk to work. So it's rare that you're able to walk to work and not have to work in Center City and still be able to make a really good wage. So those things helped us retain and have helped us grow.
How challenging is that from a business perspective? Because I feel like at Bloomberg, right, Tim, we're always talking about, the employment cost index, and it's really challenging for businesses as far as to keep up with that type of wage growth. Yep. What, from your perspective and what you hear anecdotally from your employees, what is that challenge like?
Yeah, so what we think about is every dollar that we spend, we have to figure out what that return on investment is. So we have to look at every single line item. We've done well with having a fractional CFO that really helps us look at not just the food and things like that. We adjust.
Wait, explain what a fractional CFO is. I mean, it sounds like it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's a different way of saying a part-time CEO?
Yes. Basically, a part-time CFO, our accountant has that service and they offer that. And I think sometimes where we go wrong in business, especially in entrepreneurs, is that we try to do it ourselves. We try to wing it ourselves. And having that outside help really helps us look at every single line item. So we know what percentage we want our labor to be. We know what percentage we want our expenses to be as far as food. So we have to look at those things. Obviously, we have to look at everything and make adjustments for inflation and look at when eggs are up, when butter's up, those types of things to adjust pricing accordingly.
It's funny because McDonald's has this sort of fry indicator as far as how many people are adding those on to where they can tell this is what an indicator means for the economy. I'm curious if you have any sort of way to gauge as far as when it comes to spending and the consumer.
Well, at this point, we're 4 months in, so everything is still a first for us, but we're definitely looking at the market. We definitely look at our sales versus last year. We look at how many seats, not just what the revenue number is up, but actually how many people are coming into the restaurant. So we're assessing all that data, and that helps us with our forecasting, and it helps us build out knowing how much we need to make sure we're properly staffed, and that we have enough inventory so that we're able to serve our customers with our menus.
Hey, Tracey, give us an idea of how you think the economy is based not just on the restaurant, but the work that you've done in real estate development, what you're seeing in your other businesses right now.
Yeah, well, I've always believed in real estate as someone who started my first investments in early 2000, even when the market crashed in 2008. And I lost millions of dollars in the real estate crash. It was still my saving grace as I came out of that allowed me to continue to do business and actually eventually buy Booker. So I'm always big on economy. I really believe in us. I believe that what we can do as a husband and wife team, that gives me a bright look on what the economy can bring. So I really believe that our combination has really been the proven recipe.
So it's less about what's happening externally for you,
yes,
and more about what the two of you can
what
do.
Two
sort of
do
like
together.
What I'm hearing from you is it doesn't matter how the economy is because you guys can weather it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm 30 years as being a serial entrepreneur, so I've seen the highs and the lows. I really have felt them. So really believe that even when we have a bad economy, I think good business, good customer sales in any economy.
But do we have a bad economy right now?
I don't believe so.
No.
I don't believe
That's
so.
not what I believe, yeah. And real estate has always been my anchor as well. So when we put it all together, that really gave us leverage to do a lot of other things. So real estate does always tend to be that foundation that if you have that and you're able to get in on some really good opportunities, that propels you and can propel you to other things. And you always can leverage it.
Do you see any sort of red flags brewing at all when it comes to the real estate space? We always talk so much about when it comes to commercial real estate, but are there things beyond that type of area that you think you're a little weary about right now?
Yeah, commercial real estate, me and my wife, we was just talking about, we visit a lot of malls. And we were just visiting the mall, and some of the malls that we've been visiting as we've been shopping has been pretty much non-existent when it comes to customers inside stores like they used to be. So it's something that we definitely notice in the commercial space.
Is that something that would give you pause and you wouldn't want to go into that?
I wouldn't want to open up a restaurant in the mall.
Right, that's where I was wondering. That's where I was headed with that one.
And I don't know, we wouldn't have probably purchased the restaurant without being able to purchase the real estate.
Yes.
So we
Right.
purchased the commercial space, 6 apartments, and things like that because it gives us so many more opportunities in the event that anything happens with the restaurant.
What are you seeing on the landlord-tenant side? What are you seeing with the tenants right now?
Yeah, so far tenants have been great.
Great.
We've been really, really fortunate. We believe that we offer a good product and that they acquiesce and they do their part of it too. So we're pretty accessible, we're pretty available, and we just haven't had any tenant landlord issues.
No late, but we like to talk to landlords too because they start seeing, okay, well, late rents are a normal part of being a landlord, especially if you have a
Absolutely.
lot of tenants.
Absolutely.
Are we seeing more late rents now? Are we seeing people behind
You know, we
on
were
rents?
pretty fortunate through the pandemic. We had 2 people that kind of took advantage of not paying, and that's of 20 some odd tenants.
Yeah,
so
a lot.
That was less than 10%. Like, we were pretty fortunate. I think, you know, the beauty of Tracey being a developer, we keep our properties really well and things like that. So you have a good thing, kind of why, you know, mess it up when you think of certain urban communities and landlords that are not as invested in your quality of life. So to Tracey's point about service and customer service, we just live the motto of provide a good product and we'll get a good result.
Do you guys do the day-to-day with that too?
Meaning?
The day-to-day work on that, or do you have a management company?
We have someone that helps us manage the overall. Yeah, but Tracey's able to assess whatever needs to be done and is able to, you know, get a team out there to take care of things.
We only have about a minute left, but I have to ask about also your dating coaching business. You both met during the height of the pandemic
Yes.
virtually, so tell us a little bit quickly about your dating business.
Yeah, so, and I don't have as much time for it as I used to because of the restaurant. However, and it shifted a little bit because it used to be like how I attracted my husband and all the positive things about that. And now it's like, how are me and my husband really doing business in day to day? But ultimately, the message is, you know, fall in love with yourself. Make sure you understand and know what you want out of the relationship.
You do you.
Yeah, and then the thing that you want will come and find you, basically.
Absolutely, I like that.
I see you nodding, Tracey.
But be mindful, if doing you hasn't gotten you the results you're looking for, you may want to adjust that
Yes.
a little bit.
I
Because
love
that's
that.
okay too.
I love that. What a great little motto there. Well, Cheri and Tracey Syphax, great to have you both joining Tim Stenovec and myself here in the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers Studio, who are the founders of Just the Phax, but then also they have all of these different small business entrepreneur type areas like we were just talking about with Booker's Restaurant and Bar.
Oh, don't forget
in West
Cheri's book, too.
Philadelphia. Oh, yes. And of course, we have to talk about what's happening with her book as well with that. So people should check it out as far as second act, Living Boldly and Abundantly at Every Age.